Keeping with the theme of Tinder trucks, I have another much shorter story here. So this one, the seller actually took down the ad after our conversation. So that may tell you something about how the situation unfolded, what's going on here. It's a 2007 Chevrolet Suburban 2500. So I reached out, asked the questions I always ask. How long have you owned it and why are you selling it? In this case, it looked lifted, so I wanted to know about that as well. He said he bought the vehicle for his brother, turned out to be a little bit too big for him. They downgraded and they've owned it for 6 to 9 months. And yes, it has a 6-inch lift. So a little bit of a red flag popping up so far. I like most of the vehicles that I buy to have been owned by the same person for at least 3 years. Generally means that they've kept up basic maintenance, nothing catastrophic has happened. You see a lot of vehicles where people have owned them less than a year. It means they bought it, it had a problem they didn't know about, or they bought it and a transmission or an engine blew, whatever. The longer someone has owned it, I usually put more value on that. The other thing that sticks out is, I don't know about you guys, but I do not have a brother who is nice enough to buy me a $15,000 or $20,000 vehicle. So, is the story true? Are they the best family ever? Will we ever know? Who's to say, really? The next step I ask for is, does it have any warning lights on the dash? Any issues that need to be fixed? Again, inquiring a little bit about this lift. That's a unique situation. And then what is the VIN number? So the guy got me the tire size and then got me the VIN number. Once I had the VIN number, my first step is always comp 9. So it confirmed it's a 3/4 ton Suburban, 2007. Scroll down here, I see this one is a GT4, so it's 373s. Not my favorite, but it's not terrible. Then also confirmed in here that it has the 6-liter engine, iron block, and it has the 4L80E transmission. So I've since learned that in 2008 they went to the 6-speed transmission, which is significantly better. So for anyone wondering, I wouldn't buy a 2007 for that reason. I also was able to see in here that this was a fleet vehicle, so this VQ1, so this means it was government owned, which we will confirm on the next page. So looking at it, the options are decent. It's government owned, it started with the government. Some people love that, some people hate it. Good information to know. I thought it was there was enough of a chance here to proceed to the next step. That next step is obviously taking the VIN to EpicVin, and right away I'm thinking this isn't good. The first picture that they advertised here, looks like the truck was in a pretty decent front end collision. So safety recalls, don't really care about that, but accidents, 4 problems found. Now, is that 4 accidents or is it 4 problems? What do we know about that? 2+ owners, 2 sales history. Comp 9 was correct here. It started off as a government vehicle, purchased in 07. They put 100,000 miles on it. And then the second owner purchased it in 2013. And then third owner, fourth owner, fifth owner. You can see the information gets a little bit less each time, which also may be a little sketchy. Vehicle details. See, not very valuable here because it says this is a half ton, which we know is not the case. Odometer, no problems there, that's good. Lengthy reporting on the mileage here. Since it's a government vehicle, you're going to see all of that vehicle history at the different mileages, odometer reading, vehicle serviced. And then you can see here in 2019, it was offered for sale by a dealer. In 2021, it was offered for sale at an auction. We're probably going to find that's after the collision. Junk and salvage insurance records. So again, junk and salvage titled and sold as such. This is something that personally I believe you would, as a seller, you would always hope to put this in the ad. I don't like junk and salvage vehicles, and certainly if I know I'm buying one, it has to be a much better price because of the stigma attached to it and how difficult it'll be to resell and what that means. Was the repair done well? Are there going to be lasting issues? So a big red flag here that we find out this has a junk and salvage title that the owner never mentioned. And while we do like to give owners, the benefit of the doubt, there's no way to not know that you have a salvage title in your hand if it's in your name. Moving on, further title information, all these title and registrations happening. Stolen vehicle, no problem there. And then we see it has the salvage brand and also the rebuilt or rebuildable brand. Two different ones here, so this is probably just two different purchases. No other issues. And we can see actually 4 different impacts reported here. So you had one in 2011, one in 2012, 2021. This one must have been significant. And then 2022. No. Here's where it was for sale in 2019. Asking price of $10,000, or roughly $10,000. Looks like they had used it as a plow truck. That's another thing that's good to know. A lot of people don't want to buy a plow truck because those are hard miles on the vehicle, engine and transmission. Other than seeing the plow, this still looks decent enough. And then here's the money shot. Look at that. There's our auction. There's our front end damage. You can see a pretty good amount of rust right there. More rust there in the seam. Interesting little Optimus Prime sticker there. And then considerably more rust here and on the back than what was shown in the ad. You'll have to take my word for it since the guy took it down. But basically at this point, this is a Tinder truck at its core. No mention of the different title issues going on. No mention of all of the accidents that's been going on. This is stuff that you would never know unless you paid that money and took the time to research it. And I believe that's all that we found here. So knowing that, I went back to the seller. I said, never mind. Looked it up. It had been 5 owners, 4 accidents. Sent him the picture, the damage. And he goes, yep, that's how we bought it and had it fixed. No problem. I mentioned that he might want to include in the ad as a salvage title and accidents. Seems pretty misleading not to. He gave me the thumbs up. He reduced the price. He changed the description. And then he removed it from the marketplace. So, moral of the story, Tinder trucks are prevalent. Make sure you're doing your research. Be safe out there when you're buying used.